Are they still going 25? Yeah, 25. They were a bit aggressive earlier. All right. So what if we go, yeah, we can do that. Hey, how are you, Bear? Yeah, mate, we're just going to get everything up and running on our YouTube side. So Facebook does it automatically for us, but YouTube, we got to work it all out. But we'll be with you in a second, mate. Don't stress. Yeah, beautiful. Alrighty. Charlie. All right. G'day, folks. Chris Nitzo, Weather IQ. We're just waiting on Facebook to get their stuff together. I think they're about to. Right. Yes, Charlie. I just went to the gym, walked the dogs. I still got a bit of pre-workout in me, so don't fire me up tonight. Yeah, and I'm just getting our charts up, folks. So just bear with me for a second. Okay, we got that. Let's have a look at what's going on right now. Beautiful. We can start with that. Alrighty. So for those of you that don't know, my name's Chris Nitzo. I'm I'm the owner of Weather IQ and obviously their lead forecaster. And a lot of the stuff that you see online is from me. And obviously I'm the guy that does all our video forecasts for our subscribers and our members. Yeah. So that's who I am. And for those of you that don't know, for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, all right. We've been at this for 14 years, by the way. We're not new at it, and we're very good at it. All right, so let's have a look here. Mackay region, that's where all the action's at the moment, the Burdick and Mackay district. So we've got a lot of storm activity coming offshore. Now, tonight, what we're looking at here around the Whitsundays is to see whether or not we've got a little circulation that might pop up off the coast. We're not expecting it on the coast, but we have seen some good rainfall on the coast, of course, with all the storm activity pushing through the Burdick and into the Whitsundays region. We've also got some storms coming up from the south in the Mackay region. You can see here, they're going to push up through the district as the night goes on in response to a southeasterly. So as that southeasterly comes up, it's going to butt heads with a northwesterly, and we may see a little weak circulation popping up off the coastline here, and that circulation will move away from the coast very quickly overnight. And beyond that, we're expecting a bit of a clearance through the Mackay district, except for perhaps the Whitsundays. The Whitsundays could still be in for quite a bit of rain tomorrow. Mackay will just drop back to a few showers, so too for the area down towards St. Lawrence. The expectation, of course, is that the big stuff is going to start kicking off around Townsville as we get into tomorrow night. So there's going to be a period tomorrow when this little circulation pops up and pushes offshore where we're going to fine everyone up and everyone's going to bitch and whinge and carry on about, oh, no rain, no rain, no rain. I'm waiting for it. I'm expecting it. We're braced for it. But the expectation will be that at the end of the day, those no rain will shut up because there will be a lot of rain. All right, so just be aware that that is coming. Tomorrow, the back half of tomorrow. The first half of tomorrow should be mostly fine right across the region. All right, let's go from the start and let's have a look at the systems in play so we can understand the overarching landscape of the meteorology behind all this. All right, so let's have a look here. By the way, we have a subscription service. Everything I'm telling you tonight is not new for them. They've already seen it. They already know what's coming. All right. If you have got the available funds and you'd like to support us, $32.95 it starts. You get all my video forecasts for that price for a year. I'm not with you during the dry season every day, but during the wet season, I'm with you every day. So if you'd like to support us, weatheriq.com.au/subscribe. It's on the top right of your screen. Right. Let's go. So the Bureau of Meteorology, they're not really watching anything over the east coast at the moment. They're only watching one little low off the west coast, which we better just discuss just to get rid of it and then talk about the real stuff. So this is the low they're looking for out here off the northwest Kimberley. You can see it stays slow moving, pushes southwards, and then eventually comes into the coast. One of the problems with this low, though, is that it's a very slowly developing system. It's part of a larger trough system. It's not putting itself together anytime soon. It has a small risk of becoming a cyclone. I think the Bureau had it at 35. They've dropped it to 25. Maybe that's probably a little bit ambitious, but the end result could be that it becomes a cyclone on Tuesday. The expectation, or Tuesday night, the expectation is we're going to see a wall of wind shear come across the Kimberley. And as that wall of wind shear hits the system, it'll accelerate to the east and will make landfall somewhere around the Kimberley. I have to say the caveat to that is if the system has died already because of the wind shear, then nothing will make landfall. But if it does make landfall, we're probably anticipating a weakening low, and we're probably anticipating showers and some thunderstorms around the low with some moderate falls. We're not seeing anything too heavy. That low doesn't look like it's going to be attached to a monsoon. So look, to be honest, we're not overly concerned about it. We're monitoring it, but we're not overly concerned about it. For those of you in the Kimberley, absolutely keep an eye on it, and we'll let you know if there's anything to keep an eye on there. But for now, we do expect it to come onto the coast around Tuesday night earliest, probably Wednesday. Few showers and thunderstorms, folks. That's basically what we're seeing at the moment. But there is a chance, all right? That meme, there is a chance. All right, let's talk about the big one. Actually, no, we'll get to that one next. All right, so we can see here, here's that little Mackay thing that we're talking about. So you can see it on your screen, that little thing off Airlie Beach that pops up, pushes way away. Look how quick it moves. So by, Saturday afternoon, it's 500, 600, 700 Ks off the coast. All right, this thing is nothing to worry about. The only thing we're looking at it for is to clear the weather. So there'll be a temporary clearance, and that's when the dickheads will come out and go, oh, you said there's rain, now there's no rain. So that's the one we're expecting, right? It's going to clear the weather, but it's going to clear the way for the new weather. So the idea is it's going to clear this rubbish that's going on around the Townsville, Mackay area right now. It's going to take it out to sea, and we're going to redevelop a new convergence zone straight over the top of this area. All right, but just understand things are going to get fine before they get bad. Because, geez, I'll tell you what, our social media team's going to have a meltdown with the dickheads tomorrow. All right, so here we go. Low pressure system in the NT side of the Gulf. That system is moving eastwards and will probably stay just around or just inland of the coastline. Now, it gets into Queensland on Saturday night, Sunday morning. The system then pushes in a more southerly direction through Sunday. So the steering mechanism that was driving it east breaks down on Sunday, and this low then comes down into the Gulf country and into potentially northwest Queensland. All right, so here we go. This is where the system will likely lie, and you can see these are all the dots, these are all the possibilities, and you can see how tightly clustered they are just in this area here. So that's around between Camberwell and I would say probably west of Richmond would be the general consensus here of where the system will be. Probably well west of Richmond at this stage. So Camberwell to probably just around. Look, to be honest, probably the most likely aspect of this is the system's going to lie in that area around Cloncurry. Cloncurry would be my guess where the system would be probably wanting to stick around. Now, the problem here is that once it decides where it wants to stick around, it sort of sticks around, and I mean sticks around. It doesn't want to go anywhere. It moves about 50, 100 Ks either side of wherever it decided to stay. And so this quasi-stationary motion is what creates the flood event, and it's going to be a serious flood event for northwest Queensland. It's not a BS thing. This is going to be a serious flood event. It's not a couple of 100 mils over a few places. This is big. Once this system decides to stall, we're going to see a northwesterly flow turn northerly and then be forced to turn northeasterly. And on the southeastern to eastern side of the circulation is where all of our big rainfall is going to be. And once it decides to start raining, it just doesn't stop. And this area will start to see 0.5 metre of rainfall. This is serious stuff. This isn't a BS event for this part of the world. All right, so that being said, the system then breaks down around about Tuesday night, Wednesday. It begins to break down. That doesn't mean the rain just stops suddenly. It just means that the rain gets lighter. We no longer have that turning and that forcing like we have for the first few days. And so eventually the intensity of the rainfall gets lighter and we're able to sort of finally get rid of it as we go into Wednesday, Thursday. Now, later in the week, there's some signs that whatever was left of it may sort of dip into become part of a trough, and because of that, we bring some tropical moisture into the trough, and maybe we can get ourselves a little bit more rain through central Queensland, possibly into the central Queensland coastline longer term. But listen, that's far too far away to be discussing, and we don't really know, so we don't want to sort of speculate that far out. The problem here isn't that. The problem is this part, okay? This part where the system is slow moving from Sunday through to at least Tuesday night before it decays. That's 3 full days of a couple of 100 millimetres a day. So that's 500-600 millimetres that's going to be falling in this area easily, all right, because of the squeezing effect. And I'll show you that very shortly on the maps. All right, so for North Queensland, we're looking at a similar type of situation where we've got a squeeze, but we don't have a low. Now, there is an alternate solution. Actually, let's just go through the North Queensland one here. Otherwise, I'll talk about it and you won't understand what I'm saying. So let's quickly go through what's happening through the Townsville district over the next few days, so you can get a better understanding why the rain, where the rain, when the rain. So I don't have, hopefully everyone watching here isn't going to send me the BS comments on tomorrow about, oh, where's the rain? So because you understand when the rain is expected. All right, so we are going to use our most reliable dynamic modelling. This is the European model and our most reliable dynamic modelling, but we have some issues with it, okay? One of the things is that it doesn't really do very well with our orographic lifting potential on that northeast coast, and it underestimates rainfall. All right, so the key here, and I'm just going to get our time frame, so keep an eye on those times down there, eh? That tells you what day we're looking for. So on Saturday, we're going to see this southeasterly beginning to come through. So it's already come through, so just to go through tonight for you. So there's our little rotation, right, off the coast of Mackay. So that's our rotation area, see that over there? Bang, that's our rotation. That pushes offshore, clears us out. That's a really, really dry, stable air behind that, okay? So the idea is once that pushes out, we're going to clear out for a little bit, and then we redevelop our convergence zone. All right, so for the Mackay, that's it. Whatever you're getting this evening and tonight, that's it. After that, it's just southeasterly stream showers for you. But for areas further north, there's a lot going on here. All right, so as we go through, we can see that there's a little bit of a hint of a southeasterly coming through and a northeasterly here. So there's a convergence that's beginning to set up here on Saturday night, Sunday morning. And that starts to develop that heavy rainfall. So that squeezing effect of the southeasterly coming into a northeasterly. We go a little bit higher in the atmosphere just to get rid of some of the frictional effects, and you'll see that a little clearer. So we've got a southeasterly, and we're going to see that southeasterly coming up the coast, and it'll butt heads with a northeasterly. And so the expectation will be a squeezing effect on the Townsville to Cairns coastline. And that's going to drive some very heavy rainfall into these regions. So the idea here, that's better. The idea here is that southeasterly then butts heads with this northeasterly or northerly and turns northeasterly, and see that squeezing effect? See how we're getting that squeezing right through Townsville? That's what creates the rainfall, all right? That part there. And that's already happening, starting, if we're looking for a start point, that's already starting Saturday night. As we go into Sunday, that progressively gets stronger, You can see that squeezing effect, and then you can see the squeezing effect just moving northwards a touch as we go into Sunday night, Monday. All right, so that squeezing effect is what's creating the very heavy rain, and then you can see how strong the winds are here around the Townsville district. So just south of the heaviest rainfall is where we're going to see the strongest winds, and the strongest winds could be gale force wind gusts, maybe even some damaging wind gusts offshore. So obviously don't be on the water. It's pretty simple stuff. So this here is what creates our rainfall. That's squeezing. Now this squeezing doesn't just happen because for giggles. This squeezing occurs because we've got a low there in the northwestern parts of Queensland. Without the low, if the low wasn't there, what we would see is probably a couple of hours of heavy rain through Townsville, a couple of hours of heavy rain through Ingham, and it would progressively move northwards. The heavy rain would just move northwards. But because the low is there, and what do you reckon the low is doing? It's sitting there. It just doesn't want to move. Between Sunday and Tuesday, it just does not want to move. So the idea is that that low is going to continuously encourage this squeezing on the coastline, this convergence on the coastline. So that's why we have the rain here, as well as, we'll talk about northwest Queensland shortly, because they're obviously a little bit more important because they don't drain quite as well as this part of the coastline. All right, this part of the coastline is important because this is where a lot of people live. But that part, very important from a drainage perspective. They are in for it big time there. So that's what we've got. As we go into Monday night, Tuesday, now here's where we avoid a major catastrophe if this happens. A major disaster. Catastrophe sounds too catastrophized. So a major disaster if this happens. So what we're looking at here above the surface, about 500 metres up, see how our convergence, our maximal convergence shifts offshore? Right, so this is the key difference in the models. So the models that show us up to a metre of rainfall this week on this Ingham-Tully coastline just north of Townsville, those models don't have this happening offshore. They have this happening right over Tully, Ingham. So because this is happening offshore, we get almost a whole day of reprieve around northeast Queensland, not a moment too soon, by the way, where all of this strong convergence is happening offshore. We're still getting showers on the coastline, but you can see here that this is all happening just offshore off the coastline where the squeeze is happening. And so that's what is creating the rainfall, that squeeze and that forcing of changing of direction of wind. That's what creates the rainfall. And you can see that in this situation, only in this situation, we have that offshore. And the difference is significant when it comes to rainfall potential. So when we look at the overall rainfall intensity or the rainfall accumulations, this setup, which allows that reprieve, see how we push that rain out to sea? Overall, we end up getting 300, 400, 500 millimetres on the coastline. We can handle that in northeast Queensland. We're built tough like that, all right? But the other situation is the one we want to avoid, and that's this one here. Let me give you a look at this one because it is equally as plausible as the one I just showed you. Monday night, Tuesday morning is a really important time for Ingham, Rolling Stone, Tully, all those areas, because if we don't get that offshore part, then they're going to continue to get pummeled throughout this time all the way until this whole thing breaks down sometime on Wednesday. So Monday night, Tuesday morning is a key pivotal time for the Tully-Ingham part of the coastline, and maybe even Townsville if that convergence sets up a little further south, although we think it'll probably be just north of Townsville with the really heavy stuff. All right, so when we take a look at this particular modelling, we'll use the same level, about 500 metres up in the atmosphere. So we still got our little circulation off the coast of Mackay, just buggering off there overnight tonight, no problems. That's gone. All right, now the southeasterly comes up the coast. There it is there. And we see that convergence, that squeezing starts to develop somewhere around that Townsville, Ingham area. Starts to develop about the same time, right? Saturday night, Sunday. So we got great agreement here about how the processes are going to work. All right, great agreement in the areas, Townsville to Ingham, possibly as far north as Tully. Very good agreement in all of that. Now here's where we disagree when it comes to modelling. You'll notice there that the convergence strengthens. This is something that all models agree with. Sunday into Monday, the convergence will strengthen. Look at those winds. See how we suddenly got some oranges and some reds. All right, we didn't get oranges and reds on Sunday, did we? So we really intensify that squeezing effect. This time, though, in this particular model, you'll notice that the squeeze isn't happening offshore. It continues to happen in the Ingham, Tully, maybe as far north as Innisfail area. So in this situation where the squeeze doesn't move offshore, that Monday night, Tuesday period, we don't have that reprieve for northeast Queensland. And that's what changes this from a rain event to an absolute disaster, because what this does is it continuously enhances that intense rainfall in the same areas. Now, if we take a look at the variation here in the accumulated precipitation, you'll notice that instead of 300 to 500 millimetres, we're starting to develop by the end of, actually we'll go to Wednesday, just like we did with the other one. By Wednesday morning, we'll use Wednesday morning, we've developed a metre of rain here. Do you understand? Because we didn't get that reprieve, we didn't push that rain offshore for a day, we kept it in close to the coast. And each of these scenarios are equally plausible. This one is just as plausible as the other one. So, as I said to the subscribers this morning, I said to them, we need to be ready for this, and we need to hope that the other one happens. We can't be ready for the other one and hope that this doesn't happen, all right? It can't go that way. We need to be ready for this, where we don't get the reprieve, and we really hope that we do get the reprieve. But we need to be ready for this scenario just in case it actually happens. And it is very plausible with those big mountain ranges around Tully, Innisfail, Ingham, Rolling Stone, that if this convergence does not move, because the low's not moving, that's why this convergence doesn't move, the low doesn't move. If the low starts moving around, sure, the convergence might move around, but we're not expecting that, right? So we need to be ready for this scenario, and we need to hope that the Euro scenario comes off, where we do get that reprieve for a day, and that means there's 200, 300, 400 millimetres that doesn't fall on the coastline in that scenario. And as I said, we're built tough in North Queensland. We can easily handle 300 to 500 millimetres over 3 days across the district. Okay, we can't handle a metre of rain in 3 or 4 days across the district. No way in the world. All right, so we do need to be ready for this and hope that the other one comes off. All right, so that's the North Queensland, Northeast Queensland side of things. Okay, for those of you that say, so I don't get the bitching and whinging later on, when does the rain start? Because that's the first question everyone asks. When does this all start? Oh, you said it's going to start. Didn't start. Oh, Jesus. All right, so when does the rain start? We've got showers and thunderstorms today. They're going to move offshore. We've got that little rotation off the coast of Mackay, right? That's going to create heavy rain off the coast, overnight. That rain is going to push further off the coast tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, you're going to be looking at mostly fine, maybe a couple of showers, maybe. But don't, listen, nothing, no. Don't send me hate mail at 10 a.m. because there's no rain, because I'm showing you now, there's not going to be much rain. All right, now as we go into 4 p.m, you can see we're starting to develop showers and thunderstorms on the coastal ranges all through northeast Queensland. Now these showers and thunderstorms are going to be like tonight's, but instead of going out to sea like tonight's, this is the difference. Instead of going out to sea like tonight's, these storms will get to the coast, but at the same time, there's the southeasterly change coming up. And what's going to happen here is that the actual atmospheric profile is going to keep these storms close and tight to the coastline. So these storms aren't going to escape out to sea like tonight's will. All right, these storms are the real deal. They're going to stick around. So tomorrow afternoon storms, watch out. They're not going out here. They're going to stick around the coastline, and then they're going to be further reinforced overnight tomorrow night with the development of the squeeze. And you can see the intensity of the rainfall. Let's go back. There's our showers and thunderstorms. Spotty, spotty, spotty. Even at 4 p.m, I'm going to get people going, you said rain, no rain. Yeah, use a shit. No, just wait. As we get to 10 p.m, bang, we start to develop the more intense stuff. 4 a.m, really bang, lots of intense stuff. And you can see it extends a long way down the squeeze line or the convergence line or the trough line, if you want to call it that, all the way through Charters Towers, out towards Hewenden, out towards Richmond, out towards Julia Creek, and then we're talking about them shortly. All right, so as we go into Sunday night, Sunday during the day, we maintain the squeeze zone in the Townsville district, all right? As we go into Sunday afternoon, we maintain the squeeze zone in the Townsville district. possibly in the Ingham region at this point. As we continue, by the way, further north, showers and thunderstorms. That means spotty, hit and miss. So if you're in Cairns, don't go messaging us and giving us shit because you didn't get a bunch of rain all over the place. All right? They're going to be spotty, showers and thunderstorms. That's what we're expecting up there. We're not expecting the big rain up there. All right? We're just expecting showers and thunderstorms. Now, there could be heavy rain inside the showers and thunderstorms, of course. But we're not anticipating widespread, heavy, constant rain like we're anticipating on this section of coastline. All right, so please understand the differences there. By the way, for those of you on the Whitsundays, there's still a lot of shower activity there, and there's a lot of light drizzly rain coming from all of this deep convection. All of that, the tops of those, get pulled down towards the Whitsundays. So the Whitsunday is still going to be very cloudy and drizzly and showery for an extended period of time here. Probably for Mackay, it'll just be more cloud cover rather than rain. But for the Whitsundays, there's probably still a bit of rain in this for you, just not the intense stuff that we're going to see. All right, as I was gibbering, I went up another 6 hours. So here we're looking at 10 p.m., the period between 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. on Sunday, and we've got significant rainfall on that Townsville to Tully, well, let's call it Ayr to Tully coastline. Anything in the yellow is significant, all right? So the expectation is perhaps a slight northward shift of the convergence on Sunday night, a little bit closer to the Herbert area compared to the Townsville area. And then this is the key. Overnight Sunday night into Monday morning, overnight Sunday night into Monday morning is when the convergence gets at its strongest. Remember those colours I showed you on the chart? How they went from little yellows and pretty greens to orange, red, scary colours? Yeah, scary colours for a reason. The increase in winds, the increase in strength of convergence results in a very heavy pocket of rainfall here, most likely from Rolling Stone northwards overnight Sunday night, Monday morning. But you can see anyone in the yellow could be getting heavy rain. Don't just focus on the red. The red, sure, that's pretty scary stuff, all right? But the yellow tells us that you could be looking at heavy rain. All right, as we go through, we can see that little area begins to lift off a little bit on Monday. Now, here's the problem that we're facing, right? We're getting to that stage. We're getting to that crossroads period where we go, is this going to be a disaster or is this going to be, we're built tough in North Queensland, we'll just handle it? This is the point. This is the crossover point. Now, some of the models from here keep this red bit right over the top of Ingham Tully. All right, so that red bit stays there for the next 2 days. Doesn't weaken for at least 36 to 48 hours, and it sits right there. Some models take that and pull it a little bit offshore, and that's the one. That's the one we want. That's the one we want to see happen. That's the one we're not sure we're going to see happen, all right? That's the one we definitely want to see. But in this setup, what's going to happen here is this heavy rainfall is just offshore. That heavier stuff is going to be just starting to move up the coast and just offshore. So really, really tight setup here. And then you can see it pushes out to sea. So just as it's about to come up towards Cairns, pushes out to sea. See you later. Now, this is where all the models start to change. So this period, can I just stress, between Monday night, everything else we know is going to happen, all right? Just have some freaking patience, please. All right, but everything beyond Monday night, we don't know is going to happen. We don't know exactly if this is going to sit here from Monday night through to Wednesday or if it's going to lift off to the north and northeast and give us a reprieve. All right, we don't know that part. That part's very important. That part changes it from an average North Queensland rain event to a, oh my God, Ingham's underwater again rain event. All right, so that's what we need. That's why we need to be prepping, because what if this red bit doesn't head offshore? What if this red bit sticks around? We've got just as much evidence that says it sticks around as the evidence that says it's going to move offshore. All right, so we can't just assume that one model is correct without making sure that we're prepared for both of these scenarios. We need to be prepped for a major disaster, and we need to hope that we've got that little bit of leeway there with that convergence pushing offshore. It's not set in stone. We probably won't know until we're getting right into the crux of it whether this is going to happen. So don't go asking me tomorrow morning, oh, Nitso, which one of these is going to happen? We're not going to know tomorrow. We're still going to have the same disagreement tomorrow until the convergence sets up tomorrow night, Sunday. That's probably when Sunday will probably be the better day to know what's going to be happening Monday night. Up until then, we're sort of guessing, and we've got to play it as more of an imagination type of thing. Once this actually solidifies and we have the convergence, we can then monitor it for what it's doing. We can start to see the little subtle rotational signs. Firstly, you'll see them on radar. There'll be a little bit of spin, and you'll be watching that spin like a hawk, because if that spin gets offshore, you know you're safe. You're not going to get the really intense stuff for too long. You're still going to get intense stuff, but not for too long. But if that little spin doesn't happen, or you see that little spin over land and it doesn't move offshore, you know you're in for it, and you know you're in for it bad. All right, so that's where we are at the moment with this setup. So for Townsvillians, if anyone bitches to us from Townsville about not getting rain tomorrow morning, I'm going to hit the roof. All right, so don't bitch to us at 10 o'clock in the morning when you've got almost nothing on your radar, maybe a couple of showers. You can bitch to us by Monday if you haven't had some good rain. All right, that's when you can start bitching at us. For the Mackay Whit Sundays tonight, there's a good chance of getting some decent rain. And then Mackay, just remember that you've got those showers coming up the coast. And then after that, Mackay, you're done. You're done. You're just getting showers on the southeasterly stream, and you're getting pretty cloudy because of all the stuff that's going on up north. All right, Whit Sundays, you're still going to get some decent rain on the sort of like the scraps off the table, if you like. Okay, so all the table, the big meals here, and you're getting the scraps down here because of our upper level steering pattern. So a lot of that upper level outflow from all these storms is coming down to the Whit Sundays. So you get a little bit of light rain out of there, pretty cloudy, pretty miserable sort of days. Nice and cool though, which I'm sure is going to be great for you guys, because I've had a lot of complaints from the Mackay Whit Sunday folks saying how hot it's been. All right, Townsville, your time tomorrow night. Tomorrow afternoon, those storms, you might, just like today, you might get one, you might not. And then tomorrow night, it all sets in. And then it's expected to probably peak on Sunday and potentially into early Monday. But we do expect a slight northward shift on Monday to Ingham. For Ingham, you're looking at you starting the heavy stuff probably around the back end of Saturday with the showers and thunderstorms. Then the setup will probably be closer to Townsville, and then it'll sort of drift northwards up to you as we push through Sunday. And then the key there for you, as I've just said, and Ingham and Tully, you're the same here. The key is to see if we can get this red bit offshore, not on the coast. All right, that's the key for you guys and girls. We're going to see the red bit onshore. We know that, but we don't want to see it there for 3 days. We don't want to see you getting pummeled by 50 mils or 30 to 50 mils an hour for 2-3 days non-stop. All right, we don't want to see that. That's the last thing we want to see. So the idea is we were hoping that pushes offshore. All right, and as I said, we don't know beyond that, so we're not going to speculate if it goes up that way or if it comes down this way or if it goes out west or goes down south. No, too far, too difficult. Monday night is our key at the moment. That's where we know everything until Monday night. Monday night, we know nothing. All right, that's it for this region. I think we've already had a look. Did we have a look? I think I've given you a look at this, didn't I? The accumulated precipitation total. So these are the sorts of differences that we've got, right? So this is a setup where the system just offshore creates the strongest convergence just offshore, but we're still getting our typical North Queensland stuff, which is around that 300, 350, 400, 500 even millimetres on the coast. We can handle that. That's just a typical rain event for this part of the world, right? Don't get too stressed about that. If we can get that convergence offshore, happy days, we'll handle it. If we can't get that convergence offshore, that's what we got to know. That's what we need to be careful of. And as I say, there's a lot of modelling that says that convergence is going to stay on the coast. Alrighty, and let's go out west. And once I've gone out west, I've talked to you about what's going on out west, we can come back and I'll answer your questions about the East Coast. I'm sure there'll be a lot more questions about the East Coast than the West. But we need to talk about the Mount Isa district because this is a major, this one could be a catastrophe. It's definitely going to be a disaster zone. All right, so as we talked about in this setup, the idea is once the low has stalled, so let me just get that up. All right. So there's our low. It's coming through. It's moving eastwards. It gets into Queensland side sometime on Saturday night. All right. So there it is over Queensland sometime Saturday night. as we push that low into Queensland, we start to break down the steering mechanism that was driving it east. So that starts to break down on Sunday. So once that breaks down, the low begins a slight southward drift. So there it is there. See how it's drifting, eventually, drifting southwards as we go through Sunday, Monday. Now, where do you reckon all our big rain is? I should have a little, what's the name here? A little question thing, and you can tick a box. Okay, I'll let you know. The big rain is here, where the air mass is being squeezed and turned. So in here is where we're getting our big rain. So where's that? That's right on the Flinders Highway between Richmond and Mount Isa and a little bit north of the Flinders. All right, that's where our biggest rain is as we move into Sunday, Monday. So what does that look like on a model? So we've got this area here. So there's our low. The southeastern side is where we're squeezing and turning the air mass. That's where all of the lift is occurring. All of the lift of that beautiful deep tropical air mass and this subtropical southeasterly all gets squeezed on that southeastern side of the circulation. So as this system starts to drift south, the heaviest rain is going to be on the southeastern side of the circulation. So that's really important. On the west, you're not getting much rain at all, but on the southeast is where you're going to get all the rain. So if the system's to your northwest, you're in that prime spot for that big rain. Now, we can see there that the system is creating very significant rainfall at this stage, mostly west of Richmond for the biggest stuff. And you can see then as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday, it begins to break down the intensity of the rainfall. So that means in this period between now and Tuesday, we're potentially seeing that level of accumulation of rainfall. That's over Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days. 4 days of rainfall up to about 500 millimetres over a large area. It's not a one little spot, right? It's not this property gets 500, my property got 50. No, it's not like a typical storm event where property by property we have huge differences in rainfall. No, this is a widespread, and you can see that all of this is happening, the heaviest of this is happening inside catchment zones. So let's overlay the catchments, and you can see that a lot of this isn't happening on the coast, not like North Queensland where it's all happening coastal. A lot of this is happening right across the catchment zones. The problem we have with this is this problem here that I'm going to show you, that we don't know how far exactly south some of that rain gets. So if we take a look here, we sort of know how far east it's going to get. We just don't know how far south it's going to get. So you can see here the Euro model itself. We've got a situation where we do extend that rainfall, not quite to Longreach. Longreach is getting basically what the Whitsunday is getting, right? The sort of outflow cloud from all the big heavy rain here. But you'll notice there that we're developing very heavy falls even south of the Flinders Highway. That's been a bit of a change in the modelling from 2 days ago when I spoke to you. When I spoke to you 2 days ago, we were looking at the Flinders Highway being the sort of focus, and then not much moving south past that. Well, we've moved a bit past that now in the last 2 days, so there has been a progressive slight dip southwards of some of that heavy rainfall beyond the Flinders Highway. So Flinders Highway is no longer a hard cutoff. In fact, we're seeing some really heavy falls extending maybe 100, 200 k's south of the highway. And once again, we overlay our catchments, we can see that that's going to create quite a significant issue downstream later on. So, and not just for the Gulf rivers, but also for some of Western Queensland's rivers, because some of these will pull in towards Lake Eyre as well. So it'll be a Western Queensland, not just a northwestern Queensland event if this gets south of the Flinders Highway. So that's probably a little bit of a more concerning aspect of the rainfall. I mean, we all knew that the rainfall was going to be absolutely incredible here. That part hasn't changed. That certainly hasn't changed from 2 days ago. But the southward extent of that incredible rainfall, yeah, that has changed a little bit. So that's something we do need to pay attention to for the benefit of our far western Queensland, not just northwestern Queensland viewers. All right. So that's this part, as I say, beginning to break down Wednesday, and then we're not sure at the end of the week whether this is just going to feed into a trough or whether it'll just die somewhere up here. Most of the models have it dying, but some do feed it into a trough, and we do get some rain down in central Queensland longer term. All right, so that's basically it. That's where we are at the moment with what our thinking is over the next few days. As I say, northeast Queensland, we're hoping rather than predicting that heavy rain might just shove off a little bit further eastwards, maybe give us a bit of a reprieve, stop us from going, full crazy when it comes to rainfall intensity and amounts. And for northwest Queensland, this is locked in. There's nothing here that can save you. This is just going to happen. All right. There's absolutely no doubt this is going to happen, and there's absolutely nothing that we can hope for to change this. Maybe the top end numbers might be a little bit aggressive, but 500-600, yeah, that seems pretty solid around this area. It's a very concerning. This is far more concerning than what's happening in the northeast. Assuming we can get maybe a little bit of a reprieve, the northeast is going to be a lot more concerning if by Monday night we're not seeing evidence of that convergence pushing offshore. That Ingham Tully area will be very concerned in that situation. But for me, in terms of widespread concern, yeah, this is number one by a long way. All right, let me go through some questions. Folks, just a heads up, I'm not a hydrologist. I will not be answering any flood questions. So if you ask me a question about will this road be over, will this be flooded, will this river system be flooded, no idea. I haven't studied it. I don't know the soils out there. I do know that we've pre-wet those catchments, so those catchments are really starting to hammer through at the moment. There's a lot of water there. There's a lot of surface water out there from some heavy rainfall already. But I can't give you guidance on flooding, and I can't give you guidance on whether roads are going to be closed. All I can tell you is make sure that you're checking out the Bureau of Meteorology's site for their flood warning things, and obviously the RACQ roads. And the biggest one that you need to watch is your disaster dashboards. Hopefully most councils by now are on board with that and have got their disaster dashboards. That's your number one, because that's your number one point of truth, because that's going to be all your local people are feeding information into that. All your local disaster group people, they're going to be feeding that before they're feeding it to other areas, all right? So if you are living in any of these areas, Hinchinbrook, make sure you're looking at your disaster dashboard. Out here in the Isa, disaster dashboard. I think most Queensland councils have now got themselves together and have got their disaster dashboards together and are doing a good job with that. So make sure that you're on board with that and you know where you got to look. All right. G'day, Nitso. More guns tonight. Yes, mate. As I said, I went to the gym and then gave the dog, so I had to come straight into this because I was running late. Looking forward to the report. No worries, man. Hey, legend. Thanks, mate. Debbie, subscribe 100% best weather forecast. Thanks, Sarah. Yep, our subscription service, $32.95. If you want to support us, get in there, weatheriq.com.au/subscribe. We're not government funded. That's why we don't cop shit, by the way. That's why if you give us shit, we give it back to you. All right? Don't give us shit, otherwise you cop it back twice as hard. All right, because we're not government funded, so we don't have to sit back and go, oh, let's sort of tiptoe around this, or let's just ignore this. No. If you have a go at us, we have a go at your back. But we are fully funded by ourselves, by you guys, and so by our subscribers. And thank you for your generosity to our subscribers. If you want to subscribe, that's our cheapest version there. That gets you all my videos, which is fantastic. If you're just looking for the forecast, and then we got some extras there that are a little bit more expensive. But if you just want me forecasting for you, that one there is your minimum sort of number. All right, $32.95 a year. It's not much. It's like 5 cups of coffee. All right, let's go beyond that. You're hilarious, Giovanna Marie. Thanks, mate. I don't try to be. I just get. Sometimes I get a little bit cranky, and then I don't know. I ramble. Good normal. Thanks, Barry Lyon. Too easy. Okay. Hands down, best money I've spent being a subscriber. Thanks, Lotus. Thank you. You've been a subscriber for a long time. Fredo, watch this. Cheers, Marianne, for passing it on, mate. Already got sick of hearing where's the rain. Oh, Ronnie, Bud. Bud, we are having a mental breakdown at Weather IQ. The amount of freaking morons that are on our social media. I don't know, we've attracted, this year, more than any other year, we've attracted the most moronic group of followers in the last 12 months compared to, don't get me wrong, our 250,000 that we had last year, beautiful. They were fantastic, 99.5% of them. But I don't know, this last 100,000 crop that we've copped this year, god damn, the amount of emotional stress they're putting on our team because they're freaking morons and they look at a little picture of something and then they go, oh, the colours are there, but I'm here and I haven't had rain and I'm supposed to get colours. No, you idiot. Read what we're writing. Don't just look at the picture. Oh, man. It's so frustrating, bud. It's so frustrating, Ronnie. I reckon we will see multiple record flood levels broken in the next 4 to 6 weeks. Mate, look, we've got... The thing is, I'm not seeing... Jake, with your comment there, I'm not seeing evidence of follow-up big rain. So I'm seeing, obviously, this is huge for northwest Queensland and potentially huge for parts of northeast Queensland, but I'm not seeing any big follow-ups, mate. That's the problem. Like, I think we might see some big flood levels, yeah, but do we have any follow-up over the next 4 to 6 weeks? I'm not seeing a lot of evidence of something big coming. If you get what I mean, not in my little crystal ball at the moment, anyway, mate. So I'm not going to disagree with you, because this is obviously, like, if we get this, and then let's say in 2 weeks' time we got some other sort of big rain event. Holy dooly, yeah, you are 100% spot on. But I'm just not seeing that next one on the horizon at the moment, mate. So I'm looking at a pretty weak monsoon for the next few weeks. I'm not seeing anything major on the cards. But then again, this sort of crept up on us too. We weren't seeing anything major more than 2 weeks out for this either. So it sort of crept up on us. So maybe that might happen here too, mate. Ben Morgan. Hey, Morgs, how are you, mate? Into him, Nitso? Yeah, bud. Don't get me started. The IQ of social media has dropped remarkably in the last 12 months. You cracked me up. Thanks, Craig. Make sure Tennis and Elliot. Yeah. All the old footy crew are on. Do you mean the northern wet season? That happens every year at this time. See, that sort of comment there. See this Trevor bloke? Do you mean the northern wet season? That happens. Like, that sort of bullshit. That's the shit we need to call out, you know? Like, old mate here, Trevor, probably a friggin' city slicker somewhere. You know, if you're in Ingham and you're getting a metre of rain in 4 days, Trev, you come back and talk to me about the croc in your friggin' backyard, you moron. All right? Do you mean the northern wet season? That happens every year at this time. Like, duh. See, that's the shit that frustrates me. Stupid, dumb idiots commenting that shit. All right? That idiot. He's got to go. Go find another page, Trevor. There's 1,000 weather pages, 900 of them are shit. Go find one of the 900. You'll belong great there. All right? Talking shit like that. That annoys me, because these folks in here are going to have a bunch of dead cows, a frick ton of dead cows, and old mate over here goes, do you mean the northern wet season? That happens every year. Fucking moron. That's so frustrating. Imagine if you're one of these people that cops this disaster and you're listening to this dickhead telling you that. What are you feeling right there? Hey? It's just so disrespectful for the people that go through this shit to listen to shit like that. That's why I go off. That's why I get frustrated. All right? Dickheads like that. Trevor, get lost. Go find another page. Jesus Christ. Anyway, sorry, I'll fire up. That's what I do. Nothing for Moranbah. Lou, let's have a quick look at you, mate. Look, I wouldn't say nothing. The one thing with Moranbah... So with Moranbah, we're probably not seeing anything big, but you're probably just going to get sort of dribbly rain coming off these really strong convergence zones. So if I give you a look at why you're getting a bit of rain in Moranbah, so see this 500 hectopascal level. So this is about 6-7 k's up in the atmosphere, and what you're getting here is this northwesterly. Now, where do you reckon all the big rain is? Up there in the northern parts of Queensland, right? So the mid-level atmosphere, you're going to see a lot of this coming down to you, all right? And you know, there's going to be a fair bit of cloud, and with that cloud, I'm sure that Moranbah will get some drizzle out of this, but I'm not seeing anything big for you, mate. So, you know, that's the issue with Moranbah. So, yeah, I wouldn't say nothing, but I'm not looking at anything big, mate. Like, let's compare a couple of models for you. Total accumulate. So this is out till, we'll just go to Wednesday night while all this craziness is going on up north, right? And you can see all of that really heavy rain just north of you, but it's not that you're not getting anything. So you can see, what are we getting there? 20 to 25, if you can read that. 20 to 25, mate. So you're getting something, you're just not getting anything big. It's not going to be dam filling rain. It's not going to be flooding rain for Moranbah. It's just a case of... you know, that's probably a better outcome for you. This one here, around 50 mils. So that's the sort of level we're looking for Moranbah. So somewhere between 20 and 60 mils over the next 4 or 5 days. Like that's probably something I'd expect around Moranbah. And I'd expect pretty drizzly, mizzly, nice cool conditions, that sort of thing. But nothing big, mate. No. Thanks so much for your outstanding reports. Thanks, Jonathan. Thanks for watching, mate. And sorry about my rants, but frustrated when dumb people say dumb things. No rain in Cairns. We miss it, do we? No, David, you don't miss the rain, mate, but you're not one of those areas that get... When you're not an area that we're targeting for really big, solid convergence rainfall, there is an argument to be made here that we're going to see really localised heavy rainfall there. So that's the thing for Cairns. So if we take a look here when we're looking at this convergence setting up, so this is tomorrow's rainfall for Cairns on your screen there. This is Sunday's rainfall for Cairns on your screen there. So see how Sunday we do get that increased potential for Cairns, and you'll notice there that most of the rain for Cairns is just a touch offshore. So it's literally like couple of Ks offshore because of the type of flow pattern that we're getting is a northwesterly through Cairns or a northwesterly, and so a lot of our potential for storm activity sort of just nudges the coast and or stays offshore. So that's why you can still see there's some nice rainfall there, but it's not probably solid rain that just sets in like it is down south, right? So there is good rain for Cairns. There is some good rain coming, just not the sort of numbers that we're dealing with down south at this stage, mate. And unless something changes dramatically, I can't see that changing for Cairns. So there's Sunday. Just continue on with that while I'm talking about Cairns. Monday, you can see how we're getting some big rain, right? But it's further south. There's still some nice rain in Cairns. You're not going to go dry here, but it's not going to be the sort of flood event that we're dealing with down south. But are you going to get rain? Absolutely, you're going to get rain. But are you going to get big rain? Yeah, you're sort of right. You're going to need a few things to go right for you to get big rain because of the type of flow pattern that you're in, mate. So that's Cairns. Can trucks go to Greenvale? Sorry, man. That's David. That's something we can't talk about, man. Because we're not hydrologists, I can't tell you if trucks are going to be able to go to Greenvale. I can tell you they're going to struggle. but from a fair income perspective, I don't know, mate. I can't sort of comment on that. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. All right. Hey, mate, sorry if I missed it. Expected rain numbers for Dugald River. Oh, Jesus. Oh, bud, get out of there if you can. For what day? Dugald River, Tuesday. Oh, yeah, Tuesday's probably the back half of this, right? Let's go to, what do we got? What's the closest we got to Dugald River, Mount Isa? Yeah, but it's not good. It's not good. So, talking about rainfall, like, it's going to be big. So, Mount Isa, Cloncurry. I think Dugald's up here somewhere, isn't it? Somewhere just north of Cloncurry. Yeah, it's big, man. It's not... I don't know if you want to see this. Yeah, we're talking about quite a few 100 millimetres. We're in the hundreds, not a couple of hundred, right? So we're in the higher end of the hundreds, or the mid end of the hundreds for Dugald River. This is going to be pretty bad for them, clearly, and you can see that once again here in the model. There's a pretty good agreement here. Dugald River is going to cop it hard here. As we go into Tuesday, if you're asking just for Tuesday, yeah, there's still probably quite a bit of rain to go. Probably our peak rainfall will be on Sunday, Monday in the Dugald River area, but you can see there's a further 50 to 100. By that stage, half this place is underwater, so there's another 50 to 100 on top of the place that's underwater, right? So there's a lot of rainfall falling here, mate. So yeah, it's not a great time for you to be at Dugald River. Try and avoid it if you can. Normanton. Yeah, so Normanton, good question. Let's have a look at Normanton. Because we've been talking a lot about the inland parts, right? We haven't talked much about the coastal parts. Yeah, good call. All right, so let's have a look here. The expected sort of rainfalls today, you can see there's some good... Actually, let's have a quick look at the radar here for Normanton. You can see there's a bit coming onto the coast, nothing too dramatic. What we are expecting to see, though, is a big increase in rainfall through this area. So if I take you through just the rough model rather than the refined model, the rough model tells us that through the evening hours, not much going on. Overnight, we're going to see new convergence setting up west of Normanton. And then as we go through, you can see tomorrow, most of the heavy rain west of Normanton, right? But once that low starts to get closer to Normanton, so once that low starts to move onto the Queensland side of the NT border, that's when we start getting our bigger rainfall. And you can see Normanton just outside of the sort of yellow big stuff, our biggest stuff. is around that area between Corumba and Mornington Island, for those of you that wonder what Morno is. And then you can see as we get towards Sunday and the low slips southwards a bit during Sunday, that forces that convergence eastwards a touch. And so this is where Normanton starts to pick up some heavy rain. You can see that happening there through Sunday. And then what happens usually in the afternoons and evenings is we tend to break down that convergence. And you can see there for Normanton, you're looking at some periods of heavy rain, but it's not like that constant stuff that we're dealing with in Northwest, right? So there's opportunities for the water to go down. The problem you're going to face in Normanton is that the catchment of the river is consistently copping lots of rain. All right, so just be aware that while you might not get the full brunt of this, there is certainly going to be a lot of catchment-wide rainfall over the next 4 or 5 days through the catchment further southwards, especially the southern edge of the catchment. So that's Normanton. Cameron, once again, mate, we can't talk about roads. The roads is not my issue. That's I don't want to lead you astray. I don't want to give you any advice on roads. Sorry, mate. Something tells me, Jake, we're overdue this season for a Cat 5 cyclone. I don't wish it. Yep, that's fair enough, mate. I'm not seeing anything, but sure, I'm not going to say no. We can't say no to that sort of stuff because it comes back to bite us on the arse. What sort of rain figures will Mareeba? Mareeba's looking at sort of moderate to heavy rainfall. Nothing there that should be overly flood-worthy. But then, sorry, I shouldn't be commenting on flood. That's not my area. But you know, nothing there that makes us go wow for Mareeba. So we're talking about 100 to 200 mils in most models over the course of the next week. Yeah, so you can see that the really heavy stuff that we're dealing with on the coast, that's not going to go into the tablelands. Tablelands are still going to get a decent taste of this rain, but we're just not seeing those huge numbers. Like when we talk about those big numbers, where the potential disaster numbers, you can see that they're very, very coastal. Mareeba's getting, you know, 50 to 150 mils of rain over the next week or so. Atherton too. Maybe Atherton might sort of trump Mareeba. There's always a bit of a battle going on between them two. Atherton might get a little bit more than Mareeba just because of the way it's positioned. It's a little further south, closer to the main area. It's also a little closer to the mountains. So Atherton might get a little bit over Mareeba, but, you know, generally speaking, we're not anticipating big numbers on the tablelands, mate. Will this be a sandbag situation? Rachel, I can't tell you that because flooding is not my issue, mate. Not my area, sorry, not my issue. It is my issue when I get flooded. I'm not aware of the sandbag situation in Townsville, so I can't comment on that. Sorry, I can't give you any advice on that. Some rain further south of Longreach. Yeah, Tess, I understand that, but we're not seeing evidence of rain further south of Longreach. I'm sorry. The rain has gone in Cairns. No, the rain hasn't gone in Cairns. The rain is coming to Cairns. It's not gone yet. Dragonstorm, completely worth the price. Been a follower since Yasi. Oh wow, good stuff, Dragonstorm. Thanks, man. That's freaking awesome. Hey, let us know who you are, eh? I might fling you a bit of a discount next year if you've been with us that long. That's freaking awesome, bud. Thank you. Love your work, Nitso and team. Thanks, Angela. Thanks for the update with Sundays, mate. Much appreciated. Too easy, Jess. Nicole, I crack her up. Thanks. Hey, Nitso, how come Mackay with the headbutting of the southeast surge tonight does not produce more rain? Is it because, yeah, so with Mackay, if we go and have a look at what the dynamics are around Mackay right now, what you're going to find, a little bit slow. All right, what we're going to find when we take a look at our modelling for Mackay, I haven't used this yet. Well, actually, we should have done that for Townsville too. No one from Townsville piped up, but we'll use the high resolution model here to sort of see what we've got. What are we dealing with? So yeah, so we've got, yeah, that sucks, doesn't it? You've got a little bit of a circulation that developed. Yeah. There's a little bit of oh, it is too, the little sucker. Look at that. So just in here, just where my cursor is, there's a little hint of rotation on the radar. Yeah, and so rather than allowing this to come up and charge up the coast, see how we're just sort of pulling it away. That's unlucky. Yeah, so look, ideally what should be happening is this should be charging up the coast and should be dumping a truck ton of rain as it charges up the coast. But yeah, I'm seeing evidence of that little rotation just down here. And potentially I'm seeing evidence of rotation right now as I'm talking to you. I'm just seeing it now around this area just east of Hamo. All right, that could be our nighttime low that's expected to move off the coast and quickly. And yeah, I'm actually seeing something there. What do we got on the velocity? Let's see if we've got anything on velocity there for Hamo. Yep, you better believe it. That's our little eddy. So that's that little thing. Remember how I said it's all about these little rotations? That's our little thing right there. It's coming off Hamo now. It's just coming off Hamo the last hour. So it's moving eastwards, and that's the catalyst for taking the rain away overnight into tomorrow morning. And that's why you're going to wake up and you're all, the ones that didn't watch this are going to go, the rain, it's not here, you idiots. All right, so that's why. So this little rotational area will eventually just strengthen a little bit as it moves off the coastline. Yep, but there's two there. There's one over here, that little thing that's stuffing us around in Mackay, just down here. And then there's this one here that you can see how the yellow and the blue are mixing here. Yeah, clear rotation on the radar there, developing in this region. So that is unfortunately for Mackay not a great sign for very heavy rainfall, since that will now take that away from the coastline. There you go, eh? Right in real time. How good's that? So that's it there, Charlie. So we've got that little bit of rotation just off the coast of Stanage down here, and then obviously this area of rotation here that's now developing. Yeah, so Mackay's sort of piggy in the middle of the both, mate. So, yeah, that's not great news at all for Mackay. Poor buggers. Anyway, there's still a bit of time. There's still a bit of time, mate. There's the southeasterly hasn't come through yet. There might be something there for you tonight. Maybe if this can bugger off as quickly as possible, there might be something that we might be able to snag ourselves in around Mackay overnight. Yeah, Stephen, because they're from Victoria and New South Wales and they panic. I think this is in response to that dickhead who said, "Oh, it's the wet season." Yeah. Not much for Mareeba side due to the... Yes, exactly. Yeah, Blaine, that's exactly right, bud. The rain shadow effect in Mareeba and Atherton and those sort of areas, yeah, it's pretty real when this sort of stuff's going on. We'll get some big rain on the coast. We won't get much in Mareeba. Like, we'll get something, right? Don't quote me and say, you said we're not getting much. We got 50 mils or 100 mils. But you're not going to get the big stuff like the coast. Will this bring a cyclone in the next 2 weeks? No sign of that, Dave. Good looking hair, mate. Adrian, thanks, mate. Love your work, keeping us up to date with what's going on. Appreciate it. Thanks, Kerry. My pleasure. Travis wants to know if the bull sharks will be washed out of the crease. Not my area, Adrian. Sorry, bud. Thanks for your hard work, Nitso and team. Thanks, Alan. Thanks for tuning in. I reckon you have the best weather centre available. Well worth the price of the weather for a weather enthusiast. Thanks, David. Great to hear from you, mate. Good on you, Nitso. Feed it to them. Yeah, Bear, like, especially idiot, like, I get it when North Queenslanders might say shit like that, but when Southerners say shit like that, or even North Queenslanders that live in Townsville or Cairns or Mackay, like in the city, right? You may as well be living in Brisbane. You know, I hate it when people say shit like that because they don't get what it's like living in the country. You know, they don't get what it's like living on a freaking property where you're about to get half a metre of rain over 4 days and some dickhead over there who's living in Townsville or Cairns is telling you, oh, it's just the wet season. Fuck off, mate. What do you know? Like, yeah. Anyway, where is it going to flood? I don't know, Michael. I'm not a flood man. You're a legend, Nitso. I hope the farmers out west try to get some of their stock. I really do just hope that, Stacey. You know, we probably got a little bit more warning for this one than we did last time. We could see this one coming a long time ago. So hopefully a lot of the farmers, we've got farmers from out there that are subscribers, and we started sort of alerting them to this a couple of weeks back, that we didn't see an end in sight. Like we saw that the low might have moved west but it could come back to us. And we said that a couple of weeks ago. So I know that a lot of our subscribers who are farmers definitely have taken the precautions, but I don't know how much the farmers that rely on the bomb have taken their precautions, because I think they only issued the, the flood watch yesterday or late yesterday. Yeah. David, people in Ingham are built tough. The Premier will send cheques to his hometown. Yeah, good man, David Crisafulli. I've met him once when I was younger. Good guy. Very good guy. I do like the man. I don't care much about politics. I don't care about his politics, but I like the man. You can like the man. You might not like the politics. You might like the man. I like the man. Hey, Nitso, ignore this if you already answered. I got here late. No worries. What is the chance of a severe thunderstorm around the Townsville region? That's where the flash flooding will occur. Yeah, pretty good tomorrow, mate, Shane. It's tomorrow afternoon, evening. That's when we could get some flash flooding around Townsville in that initial burst. And then after that, we're just going to start to see general surface water throughout the city. But that initial burst tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, Shane, that's if we take a look, I'll just give you a look at the high-res radar, high-res forecast radar for the Townsville district, and I'll just give you an idea at why that initial burst could be quite big for you. There it is there. So that's our high-res, and we'll just use the latest version. I haven't looked at the latest version. It's come out while I've been gibbering. So let's have a look. So you can see that's that overnight stuff. That's pushing out to sea. Tomorrow morning, this is tomorrow morning's forecast radar, by the way. So when someone starts bitching, I want you guys to go into bat for us. When someone starts bitching from Townsville about not getting any rain, I want someone to go into bat for us, please. Because this is clearly, we're not expecting much rain tomorrow, right? That's 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, nothing. And then bang, suddenly, see all that? Suddenly, boom, straight away, right over the top of us. Now that pushes east, the first part pushes eastwards. Then it stalls, it stops pushing eastwards. So see this one? See this big large area of rain that hits Townsville? Yeah, this one isn't pushing eastwards. This is the first sign that we're no longer able to just push our storms out to sea like we are here. So today, this is our storm activity today, right? It happened, it went through Burdekin, it pummeled the Burdekin, pushed out to the Whitsundays, creating that little rotation off the Whitsundays right now, as I speak. And now you can see it going out to sea, no problems, all right? Maybe a little bit of follow-up rain overnight, a little bit of stuff, nothing there too dramatic. And then tomorrow morning, nothing. And then bang, suddenly, all of a sudden, at around lunchtime, we get some storms popping up right over the coast, and then the big stuff, all right? Then the big stuff. This is the stuff here. Develops tomorrow evening, and rather than goes out to sea, we now have the southeasterly, which holds it into land, all right? So when you're talking about flash flooding, Shane, that's it there, bud. Right there into tomorrow night. So that's the expectation of the first sign of flash flooding. Tomorrow evening into tomorrow night, where that stuff can't go out to sea anymore and it's stuck into the coastline. And you can see there, this is why, as we go to this forecast total accumulated precip, obviously we're not going to get 500-600 mils in 12 hours, but the model overreacts to that, right? But the idea here is that there's a real chance there of a couple of hundred quick mils in the Townsville district tomorrow night, okay? So very, very important we're aware of that, because we're the first cabs off the rank. So we're the first people, we're the first set of people that are going to cop this heavy rain before it starts to move a bit further north, all right? So we're sort of like the test dummies for what's going, with the sort of intensity of rainfall that's going to be occurring in this district generally, and we're going to be the first ones that will experience that in the Townsville district, and that's going to be in the Townsville city area, and that's going to be tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, where we're going to see that and experience that, and we're going to see that's your first sign of your big flash flood, bud. The fishing industry will be happy, but feeling sad for the cattle. Yeah, cattle stations, man, you got to feel for them. They've done it tough the last couple of years, out there in the northwest. They've had some terrible floods up there. Innisfail area, bestest timers. Born. I don't know what that is, but Innisfail area, you're probably just north of all the big stuff for the next couple of days. So, as I said there, Townsville's first cab off the rank tomorrow night. Innisfail, when we go up here, we can... come on, Nitzo, where's Innisfail? I'm sure we had Innisfail. Or do we have Tully? I think we got Tully. Let's go to Tully. Tully's the closest we've got to Innisfail. So what we can see here for tomorrow for Innisfail, it's just a matter of a few showers and thunderstorms, right? We're not anticipating heavy rain around Innisfail unless you can get one of these storms over the top of you. So if you can get a storm over the top of you, you get a bit of heavy rain, all right? And then you can see a couple of developing right on the coast or on those coastal ranges tomorrow afternoon. But don't go in expecting anything big around Innisfail. Not yet. No. You got to hope that this, well, I don't know if you want to hope for it, but you want to see this push north to Innisfail. Otherwise, for Innisfail, all you're going to see are showers and thunderstorms coming down into this, all right? So, and then you're going to need a lot of luck to get them. Yeah, so for Innisfail, mate, nothing big until this starts moving north. And there's no guarantee, don't mistake my words here, there's no guarantee that this mess down here will get to Innisfail. All right, we're pretty much guaranteeing some of this mess will get to Tully. We're guaranteeing that this mess will get to Cardwell. We're guaranteeing this mess will get to Ingham. We can't guarantee it's going to get to Innisfail. So you're sort of just on the northern boundary of where some of this really big stuff's going to be. All right. So I don't want you thinking, oh, Nitso said there's a shit ton of rain coming for me. No, we don't know. We don't know for Innisfail. A lot will come down to what happens Monday night, Tuesday morning. Okay. John, we have been subscribers for a long time, mate. Great stuff, John. Thank you. Thanks for your support there, bud. Thank you. It's what I do. I love doing it for you guys. But it's a challenge sometimes with social media. This last year has been the challenge, and my own mental health with social media. I fucking hate social media. I'll try and stay off it as much as I can. I really hate it because it allows everyone with an uninformed opinion to have an opinion, and they don't need to back it up. They can just say whatever. They can spout whatever shit they want to spout, and without any sort of consequence. Oh, I freaking hate social media. All right, anyway, that's why when we post a lot of stuff, we don't go, please like and share or tell people about this. No, please don't tell people. Just if you know, you know, and then if you tell like your close friends and actually explain it to them, absolutely share it with them. But don't go seeing a pretty picture and just share it with 10,000 other people. All right, because that's when we start to get the dickheads in. And that's when our page starts to have to cater for the lowest common denominator. And it's so annoying. Our page used to be a lot smaller, and we used to have probably overall a much more intelligent amount of followers. As our page got bigger, that IQ level has consistently dropped, and the trolling of the page has consistently increased. And that's one of the things why I hate social media. Anyway, Innisfail rainfall numbers, please, Nitso. Lee, mate, I can give you some numbers, but I can't stand by them. Look, sure, I'll give you some numbers, bud, but understand that you're sort of just, as I just said there for Innisfail, you're just on the northern boundary of this big stuff. So, mate, I can give you numbers. There's your numbers. There's, what's that, 200 to 400 is probably around Innisfail sort of numbers. But, geez, if this convergence zone just moves a touch further north, you know you've got big mountain ranges there, and you know what they can do, right? It's not hard for Innisfail to pick up 200-300 in a day, all right? So it's not hard at all for Innisfail to do that. So sure, you're just outside the boundary of the big stuff, so you can see the big stuff starts around Blue Water, gets up to just south of you, mate. So if that just nudges a touch further north, sure, you're going to get right into it. So that's the model average right there. That's an average approach. So sometimes we use this because it's handy. The problem with using this is it doesn't account for the fact that a couple of models have got all this convergence offshore, and then a couple of models have got this consistently onshore, right? So it's sort of not going to come out exactly. It's not going to come out this way. We're going to see either 300 to 500 over a small area, or we're going to see 500 to 1,000 over this entire region. So that's why it sort of can lead us astray a little bit when we're using model averages. But if I just give you a quick look at, say, this is worst case scenario modelling. I don't like doing this, but anyway, worst case scenario modelling. So Innisfail's getting 500-600 there for the week in the worst case scenario modelling. Best case scenario modelling is probably this one, and Innisfail over the next week is getting a couple of 100 mils in the best case scenario, so i.e. the lowest rainfall scenario. So hard, mate, the hard question to answer. Alice Creek, sorry, bud, I don't know where Alice Creek is, Lee. I don't know if I can help you there, bud. Maybe if you tell me where Alice Creek is in terms of a big map of say, a big place, we can have a look at it. Scott, Townsville, we just talked about Townsville. We talked about the onset, and we talked about the rainfall. So I'm just going to ask you to go back about 5 minutes from where I am now, and we talked about Townsville, and we talked about how the big stuff's going to start for Townsville tomorrow night, and showed you exactly how that takes place. So go back, have a look at that, mate. We are an hour south of Townsville. What's happening? An hour south of Townsville on the coast, an hour south of Townsville inland, because that does matter. So if you're south of Townsville, an hour, I'm assuming you're about 100k south of Townsville. So I'm answering BJJ Gibson. An hour south of Townsville, what's happening? How long's a piece of string? I mean, what's happening? When? Where? Like, what are you asking me there, mate? You probably listen. If you're an hour south of Townsville, you're not getting the big stuff. You're not getting the really big stuff that's going to cause widespread flooding, all right? You're not getting that, but you will get reasonable rainfall, 1 to 200 mils. If you're down around the coastal parts, around air, you might get closer to 200 than 100. If you're inland, you might get closer to 100 than 200. But you're getting some good rain over the course of the next 5 or 6 days, but we're not expecting you to get the big stuff, okay? Yeah. Can you please show us Townsville? Kathy, I just did. All right, let me, all right, for you Townsville folk, last time, let me give you a look at Townsville. I'll give you a quick squiz of the overall, because we've done this in the update at the start, right? We looked at this. The heavy rain sets in tomorrow night. There it is there. Bang, straight over the top of Townsville. Intensifies overnight tomorrow night. Then intensifies further as we go into Sunday night into Monday. All right, so you can see there, and then potentially it lifts more towards Ingham. So in that time frame, Townsville would expect to see falls in the 200 to 400 millimetre range between now and the time it might lift off a bit north. But there is a little bit of doubt about how much that convergence zone will stay beyond Monday. As I just showed you on the high resolution model just only a few minutes ago, as we said, there's some showers and thunderstorms that pop up. So all the stuff tonight, that's gone out to sea. Tomorrow you're going to wake up to a beautiful day, very little rainfall. All right, very little rainfall tomorrow morning. Then suddenly around lunchtime, we're going to start to see little showers and storms popping up right near the coast. They're going to try and exit the coast. They might have a reasonable success rate at doing that. And then the big stuff starts to kick off on the ranges. All right, and once that big stuff gets to the coast, it can't exit the coast. The atmosphere won't allow it to exit the coast. And from there is where we develop our heavy rainfall and our ongoing rainfall. Okay, so our first sign of flooding around Townsville, flash flooding, will probably be sometime tomorrow night. Okay, so that's my last Townsville's bit. So please don't ask me about Townsville. Go back through the thing, and you'll see the stuff around about for Townsville. When will Emerald get a drink, Ian? I got no idea for you, bud. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. We were hoping Emerald. We were looking at Emerald getting some nice rain out of this setup, and Jesus, that there was it was almost like a force field. There was about a 20k radius around Emerald that got nothing, like 5 mils maybe if you were lucky. Back in the gem fields, they got 50 to 100 mils. Over Longreach, 100 plus mils. Moranbah, 100, 200 mils. Jesus, just this one little patch in Emerald. Everyone around Rocky, heaps of rain. Everyone around Gladstone, heaps of rain. Emerald, the only place in the central part of Queensland that didn't get good rain. Maybe matched by Mackay based on what's going on tonight around Mackay. So Mackay might be joining you with shit rain as well. So, yeah. Charlie, Nitso, your influx of wankers is most probably due to the influx of know-all flogs from New South Wales and Victoria who are invading our great state. Oh, I'm going to stay out of that one, but I'll take your word for it. Will you be out driving it, mate? Take care if you do. No, mate, I don't do flood chasing. That's too dangerous. That's just, no. And it's not something that A, makes us money. B, we're just a hindrance. C, we can't get any data out of stuff like that. So, flood chasing's not my thing, bud. What's happening in Hopevale, Cooktown and Bloomfield? Oh, there we go. That's a good question, Katrina. Katrina, let's go up to Cooktown. Let's do it. Oh, it's been a while since I've talked about Cooktown. Right, so the big thing up here to know is we're not expecting the big rain, all right? So just understand here, Cooktown's safe from that really big rain that we're expecting down south. So at no stage, this area around the sort of Daintree, Cooktown area, we're not anticipating big rain, but we will see, and we're seeing it right now, this region around the Daintree, Cooktown. You can see how we're getting these little storms coming across. Yeah, so we're getting that sort of rainfall around Cooktown. And we're going to see more of that over the course of the next X number of days. You can you can put a number in for X and you can make up your own number. We're going to see a lot of that potential for showers and isolated thunderstorms pushing through that area. It's all going to be hit and miss. There'll be some days where you'll get them and there'll be some days where you're just, you're unlucky and you just miss out. But we're not, I just want to assure you that we're not looking at any sort of widespread heavy rainfall through that Cooktown. Even the Daintree at this stage, we're not looking at heavy widespread rainfall. Sure, there could be some heavy showers that cause some flash flooding. The Daintree is very well known for doing that, where we develop some really heavy, slow-moving showers. But overall, we're not seeing any sort of widespread rain. The best opportunity to get rain is going to be in the afternoon, evening from these storms out near Hahn River, Laura, pushing over the top of Cooktown. Same thing for Cape Trib. pushing out the storms that develop sort of on the west of those ranges, pushing across, but no major rainfall like the stuff that we're talking about down south, okay? So none of that Townsville, Ingham, Cardwell, Tully stuff, mate. But yeah, that's great. Great to see someone from Cooktown and Bloomfield here. Good stuff. No worries, Sarah. Sarah, yeah, it's a pretty bad situation there. The one thing that I would say for Mount Isa, Sarah Pango, thank you for the update on Mount Isa. Mate, you're just on the western boundary. So if that low just slips a little further west, you're right in the thick of things there. So please understand that forecast, there's such a really sharp boundary. So if we go to Mount Isa, there's a really sharp boundary on the west side of the low. So I'll just give you a look at what I'm talking about here. So see that? See how just east, like literally 20k east of Mount Isa, we're up around 500, right? Versus Mount Isa, where we're at 200. So just know that the models have a lot of error in them, okay, when it comes to low. So it only needs to be off by a little bit, and you could find yourself, unfortunately, in that area of the 500. So please understand that it's a really tough situation for Mount Isa because you're right on the edge, mate, right on the boundary there, okay? But absolutely, you need to pay every bit of attention to everything that you see on the Bureau of Meteorology site. Keep your eyes locked on that radar and make sure that you know what that river's doing around the Isa, okay? David, I hope Woolies and Coles warehouse is full. Thanks, Nitto, mate. Hope you had a ripper Christmas. Love your work. David McAlpine, long time follower and still many years to come. Awesome, bud. Thank you. I hate people in North Queensland. I hope people in Queensland don't buy all the toilet paper. I think people in North Queensland are pretty over the whole toilet paper shenanigans. I'm pretty sure most, like you talk to locals and locals just shake their heads. So it's usually the people who have come into North Queensland who haven't been here a while. Shravana, I'm stressing already. Lost my lowest home in Ingham floods. Still living in it, or are we homeless? Oh Jesus, mate. Listen, we're looking at a lot of rain. I don't want to panic you. We're looking at a lot of rain, but I don't want to go the full hog and say you're about to get a metre of rain. You know, there's a lot of things have to go wrong for that entire setup to just sit over Ingham for 3-4 days. Yeah, so mate, you do need to be prepping for some type of flooding. I just can't tell you how big it's going to be until we know what's going to happen Monday night, Tuesday. Are we going to get that rain offshore, or is it going to stay onshore? If it stays onshore, then we're prepping for really big flooding, as in major flooding. So we won't know that, mate. Not till probably even when I talk to you on Sunday night. We might have a clue, but only a clue at that stage. All right, it's one of those things. I just can't give you advice beyond Monday night, because it's such high stakes forecasting that period, Monday night onwards, because we don't know if that area is going to shift offshore or stay onshore. If it stays onshore, yeah, look out. If it goes offshore, big sigh of relief. All right, Willows Gemfield. No major rainfall for the Willows Gemfield, but we will potentially see some of the rain from this stuff here push down into the gem field, just the sort of edge of it. So you can see here there's a little bit of an outflow cloud. So it's all about the outflow cloud. So when we take a look once again in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, you can see that there is, you can't there, you can see that there is a little bit of a northwesterly flow all the way down to about Aramac. Oh, where are we? Yeah, probably there might be just enough outflow cloud potential to maybe drive a little bit of light drizzly rain down there. But we're not looking at the big rain getting there. As I say, the one thing that interests me for the gem fields would be the latest European modelling, trend, which pushes that southern boundary of the heavy rain a little further south, bud. So that's something I'd be looking out for and seeing if that trend continues. If that trend continues, we'll let you know Sunday night if that trend is continuing. Travis, Dylan wants to know if it's going to rain in Kerwin. No, not over his place. I know Travis, and I know Dylan. Much for southeast Queensland? No. There's nothing there for us to talk about in southeast Queensland. Just some isolated showers on a southeasterly. Yep, I think that's all my questions. Have I got? Yeah, Ronnie. So in Kansas, showers and storms. Yep, pretty much. Opinions are like bumholes, Nitso. Everybody has one. Been following you since Yasi, and I lived in Aloomba. You always provided the most accurate advice. Thanks, Stacey. Thank you very much, mate. That's what I love to. I love to hear that sort of feedback, and I don't like it when people just blow smoke up my ass because I do get things wrong. Absolutely, all right. I'm not going to get everything right. Sometimes I'm a little bit overworked when there's 2 or 3 systems around, and I just miss stuff. You know, it just happens. But I do try my best, especially for our subscribers. I try my best all the time. Ingham catchment area near Dutton Street. Mate, I don't know where Dutton Street is. Ingham catchment, of course. We're going to see those heavy falls in the Ingham catchment. We just don't know for how long. Everyone should subscribe so they can access daily forecasts and the Weather Centre. Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, Lotus. Absolutely, they should. And this is our subscription page, Weather IQ on the top right, .com.au/subscribe. And our subscriptions start at $32.95 a year, so it doesn't break a bank. So it's not as if I'm asking you for $100, $200, $300, all right? So it's $30. It helps us out a lot, and I'm sure it'll help you out a lot. All right. Where are we? Thank you for all the information, Itzo. I'll call my guys off. Okay. Yeah, harp is not a thing I talk about, bud. Yeah, Aramac 6mm. Yeah. Not great. That area around Emerald, Aramac. Oh, geez, that poor buggers just didn't get anything out of this, did they? Thanks for answering my questions, says Lee. No worries, mate. Not a problem. Any chance of floodwater is going to hit the Cooper River system? Simon, I'm not a hydrologist, mate. I don't know our catchments. I don't know any of that other than to tell you that we are seeing an extension southwards of some of that heavy rainfall into some of the catchments that go into Lake Eyre. Okay, so there is an extension southwards for sure in some of the modelling being reflected in the last 24 to 48 hours. So if we take a look for this particular model, which tends to be one of the more accurate ones, we can see that over the next week or so, we are getting some flooding into the northern parts or the edge of the catchments that feed into Lake Eyre. Now, whether they're going into the specific catchment that you're asking for, I don't know. I'm not a hydrologist. I don't know where these rivers run. So that's an area that I've actually made it a point not to know about is the hydrology stuff, because I want to stay in my lane and I want to be good at my lane. I don't want to sort of start branching out and doing stuff and being half-assed at stuff, you know. So that's why I don't know, mate. All I can tell you is that we are seeing some extensions south of the Flinders Highway of that heavy rainfall potential over the next 5 or 6 days. Okay. Will the member for Ingham be talking to you about this? I'm not sure, mate. I don't know who the member for Ingham is. Thanks, Nitzo, for the update and feeling for lots of farmers. Yeah, so do I. I'm surrounded at the moment at Mount Ossa. Yeah, Mount Ossa should be getting some nice rainfall down there. Let's have a quick look. Mackay, isn't it? Mount Ossa. Yeah, Mount Ossa's near Mackay. Yeah, some good rain out there. As I say, there's a little bit of rotation. So we were just looking at this live a few minutes ago. Yeah, look at that. Beautiful. Nice little low developing just out there off the coast of Mackay. Hope the bomb's onto that. Yeah, so you can see there, nice rotation developing just off the coast of Mackay. Beautiful. Look at that. Oh, in real time. How good's that? Doing a live stream and watching a low develop in real time. How many times can you say you've done that? Yeah, lovely rotation. But that will take all the rain out to sea, all right? So just, yeah, I mean, it looks nice, but it's going to take the rain out to sea. So enjoy what you can now. You've got some heavy stuff coming in now, but you can see it all going out to sea over the next few hours. All right. Jess, thanks, Nitzo, you're the best. Yeah, thanks, Jess. Sorry, I didn't mean to say yeah there. I was reading the next message, but thank you, Jess. Thanks for watching. Dugald River, expected rainfall. We've gone over this, Dan, so I'm not going to go over that again. Keep it up. Better than Livio. No, I like Livio. I don't know. Is Livio still on the news? Livio gave us shit one day. Did you know that? Old mate Livio, he's been one of my favourite weathermen. And one day he was gibbering about something, and he said, all these know-it-all pages, and he singled us out. I'm like, mate, we're one of the most know-it-all pages out there because we literally know it. We don't just regurgitate models. We understand what's going on. And the man had a chop at us. I'm like, bud, I freaking respect you and you're having a chop at us. What are you doing, bud? Anyway, I still respect the man, but I just wish he didn't give a shit. Anyway. All right, Wide Bay weather updates. Yeah, not much going on. I'm not going to do a Wide Bay weather update because there's literally not much going on. There's a southeasterly coming through with a little bit of shower activity. Awesome. All right, thanks for watching, folks. I've enjoyed our time together. If you hear any of the drongos tomorrow going, where's this rain? Because you know they're going to come out of the woodwork when there's no rain on the friggin' radar. Just set them straight for us, eh? Save us the mental anguish. I don't know, maybe we just ban them and maybe we try and cull 100,000 of our 350,000 and maybe if we can cull 100,000 we might get back to the way we were. Anyway, but anyway, I'm not going to leave us on the negative. Keep an eye on our forecasts over the next couple of days. Obviously, keep an eye on the Bureau of Meteorology's forecasts over the next couple of days. Yeah, I'm just liking while I'm talking to you. I'm just getting. It's like seeing like a supermodel on TV. You know, anyway, it's like seeing a supermodel when you're looking at the little low and my eyes are just fixated on the little low off Hamilton Island there, rotating away. Anyway. I'm going to leave you on that because now I'm rambling. Have a good night. I will talk to you 2 nights' time, not tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's Nitso time. 2 nights' time. So Sunday night, by that stage, all the Townsville folk would have got a pummeling and they'll be wondering when the rain's going to stop. So tomorrow we're going to cop it because they're going to go, where's this rain? And then by Sunday night, they're going to be going, when's this rain stopping? I'll talk to you then. Just remember, weatheriq.com.au/subscribe. Tomorrow, of course, we've got a full round of updates for all of this stuff for our subscribers, fully in-depth, talking about when, where, how much, all that stuff. weatheriq.com.au/subscribe.